Hi, this is Dr. PJ. Thank you for watching my channel. So today we want to talk a little bit about travel safety and specifically airplanes. We know that when you get on a plane, you're going to be stuck in the plane for an hour, 3 hours, 5 hours next to somebody you don't know. You're not sure how crowded it might be, and there's some ways to mitigate your risk of getting infected in those situations. So let me tell you a little bit about my routine and what I think about. When I get to the airport, I always make sure that I have hand sanitizer in a little squirt bottle with me. I always make sure that I have my mask and maybe an extra mask just in case. And as soon as I get into the airport, I am very aware of where my hands are and what they're touching, because you don't want to touch your phone without hand sanitizing it if you're really worried about it, just because of cross-contamination. The chances, once again, are low likelihood you'll get infected by touching a surface, but you can. The next thing I do is, before I get on a plane, I always make sure I take care of business. I use the restroom. If I'm going to be on a plane flight where I think I might get hungry or thirsty, I usually try to drink or eat before that so that I don't have to take my mask off or use the bathroom while I'm on the plane. Once I get on the plane, I think about all the different high-touch surfaces that I'm around, and I just look kind of around my seat. I look around me and I look at the armrests, and I use my alcohol hand sanitizer, and I either put it on a Lysol wipe or just use my bare hands, squirt it on there, make sure it's still wet, and I rub the seat rest, the armrest, and that little button that you use to recline your seat, I wipe that down also. I look at the tray in front of me, and there's that little dongle latch that you use and you move so that you can lower the tray. I make sure I wipe that down. I make sure I wipe down the sides of the tray and the top of the tray if I'm planning to use it. Another thing that's really important is my seatbelt. You know that everyone touches the seatbelt, so I take my hands, make sure they're wet, and I touch my seatbelt on the different surfaces where I know I'm going to use that to unlatch or clasp it later on during the flight. One other thing I do is, there are vents in the ceiling, and I look up at that vent and make sure I wipe that down too. So all the things that you think you might touch and your hands might be, I wipe that down just as a precaution. The other thing that I do is I make sure that when I use my hands and get up and go somewhere and I come back to my seat, I usually sanitize my hands and I never touch my face. One of the other things that you should know about, now that we're talking about ventilation, is that airlines actually clean the air and they clean the planes beforehand. So all the airlines say they deep clean the planes each night. But between flights, there might not be enough time, so they clean it between flights, but you just don't know how thorough it is, so that's why I wipe down. The other thing is air circulation. Airlines circulate the air within their airplanes every 3 minutes or so. So you get about 15 to 20 refreshed air volumes per hour. And that's important because it takes anything that's inside the plane, gets it out. The airplane sucks in 50% of the new air from outside, and 50% of the air inside the plane is recirculated through their HEPA filters. So the air inside is actually pretty clean. The one exception to this is when the airplane is not moving, then those engines don't run and the air is not circulating through the filters or getting fresh air from outside. So those first 15 to 20 minutes of boarding, you have recirculated air. So that's one thing to think about. So that's a time when I would really try not to take off my mask and be careful. And the same thing is after you land. So those are kind of the basics of airline safety and hygiene and how airline circulation works. So until next time, everyone out there, stay healthy and safe.